I had to re-record this video because I realized y'all couldn't see my beautiful face. And yeah, so let's get into it. What is sickle cell? In order to know what sickle cell is, you need to know what the sickle cell trait is. And most people don't even know that they have the sickle cell trait. It's pretty crazy. My parents didn't know, neither of them knew that they had the sickle cell trait or what sickle cell disease was to begin with. So let's get into it. Okay, first thing you need to know, sickle cell is a genetic blood disorder. That means you can only get it from your parents passed on through the sickle cell trait. You can't catch it. It's not like COVID or the flu. What is sickle cell trait? So the sickle cell trait is actually a type. It's a genotype of your hemoglobin, specifically which is in your red blood cells. So there's different kinds of sickle cell trait, just like there's different kinds of sickle cell disease. And 1 in 13 African Americans actually has the sickle cell trait, which is pretty crazy. So if you don't know your genotype, it's really good to know your genotype, just so you won't be like surprised like my parents were, when they had me, and just the fear of what sickle cell is and what's going to happen to her or what's going to happen to him. You just want to be really proactive when it comes to knowing what you could potentially pass on, especially with it being so prevalent in the African American community here in the United States. Sickle cell trait, best described, is in a Punnett square. So let's say we'll do my parents. In this box, you're gonna have A represents normal hemoglobin. So this box, you'll have normal hemoglobin, and each box represents the possibility of what each pregnancy could be when you have two parents that have sickle cell trait. So this child with this pregnancy, there's a 25% chance that this child will have normal hemoglobin, which is great, which is what we want. And then in this box and in this box, you'll have a 50% chance of this pregnancy or this child specifically having the sickle cell trait for type S. And then in this box, in this lovely 25% chance pregnancy, your child will have the full-blown sickle cell disease type SS, which is what I have, which is exactly what happened to me. So I fell into this category. So like I said, sickle cell is a genetic blood disorder. It affects the red blood cells. Red blood cells look like this. Really flexible, malleable. They can squeeze through any blood vessels with ease, no complication. All its job is to deliver oxygen to the body. So through a process, we'll just we'll just pretend that this arrow is a process called hemolysis, which in turn makes a red blood cell that is shaped normal to be abnormally shaped like a sickle cell. Sickle cells are hard, they're sticky, they don't deliver adequate oxygen, they can easily get stuck against blood vessels, they can get stuck to each other, and when that happens, it causes a sickle cell crisis. There's different types of crises as well that a sickle cell warrior can have, but we're going to talk about what a vaso-occlusive crisis is. Okay, so let's pretend that this line is actually, I'm gonna label it. This is a blood vessel. So blood vessels are like the highways for red blood cells to just kind of like do their thing. Red blood cells only are in blood vessels, and the different types of blood vessels are veins, arteries, capillaries. Now you'll have some bigger veins, some deeper veins. Let me not say obviously, I'm sorry, I have an anatomy, physiology, pre-nursing background, so let me not say obviously, I'm sorry. The biggest artery in our body is the aorta, which is near the heart, and from that, from the vessels in your heart, they branch out all over your body into like little, imagine a tree, right? So you have the trunk. The trunk is like the biggest vein or artery, right? And then you have like all these other branches that come from the trunk. That's essentially what it is within our body, like for the blood vessels, when it comes to the blood vessels. So with a normal hemoglobin, a red blood cell can easily travel even in tight spaces, no problem. But in a person with sickle cell disease, if I have a sickle cell that's traveling, and let's just say it gets stuck right here, eventually other sickle cells are going to get stuck to each other and stuck along. It's like a major traffic jam on the 405 freeway. And if you live in LA, then you know exactly what I mean. But essentially, a vaso-occlusive crisis is sickle cells getting stuck to each other and stuck against a blood vessel, and not allowing either not allowing blood flow or allowing very, very slow blood flow. So this can happen anywhere in your body. Anywhere. A sickle cell crisis can happen anywhere. Your arms, your legs, your back, within your bones. I've had bone pain, nerve pain, muscle pain, like pretty much, any pain that you can kind of think of. at least in the aspect of when it comes to sickle cell disease. But yeah, sickle cell pain is really indescribable. There's really no way that I can describe like what it feels like to have a sickle cell crisis, to be so honest. The people who have given birth that have sickle cell disease are like, oh, giving birth was nothing compared to a sickle cell crisis. Some people have said like, oh, it feels like you're getting stabbed, or yeah, but I there's really no adequate way to like describe. There's different types of pain as well. There's acute pain, which is like quick and onset, and usually like it just comes out of nowhere and just slaps you on the ground, literally. I've had more acute pain as a child and when I was like K through 12, but in my younger 20s up until now, I feel like I've had more chronic pain to deal with. So I didn't get too deep in this video because I just wanted a brief description of what sickle cell disease is. I will continue to go deeper and deeper in the levels of this illness and the things that we experience as sickle cell warriors, the other complications and symptoms that we have. But pain is like the hallmark of the disease. So when we say we're in pain, believe it. And this is for my doctors, my medical doctors. If anybody sees this and I'm in your ER and I tell you I'm in pain but I'm not crying, it's because I've been dealing with this for 29 years. And I can't break down and cry every time I have a sickle cell crisis or have pain, because I've had plenty of ER doctors tell me that I was not in crisis when I was completely in crisis. And I've had people tell me to my face, like, you know, I have more pressing matters to deal with, or I have more important patients to deal with. And the disrespect is wild when it comes to sickle cell disease. I will see you guys in my next video.